Happy Independence Day, students. It's Professor Capoletta, and I wanted to go over this assignment that we have, and here we go. So this is your prompt right now, and I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the ground rules. You're going to play the role of the interviewer, the interviewee, and provide a team presentation with visual aids. And you're also going to have a colleague critique situation that you provide to your colleagues when you observe their interviews as well as the presentations. And you'll submit a final resume. If you're doing some sort of multimedia design job in the future, you may submit a portfolio. Your interviewing assignment will be structured around teams focusing on employment interviews in a variety of industries or academic programs. In some instances, students may be preparing for a nursing program or a physical therapy program, some sort of graduate program, or you'll be preparing for the job market in a variety of industries. So when you come to class on, I guess it's Wednesday, make sure that your individual resume is ready for me to review and to show to your colleagues for corrections. Be working on your group presentation, your teaching presentation, and then also begin to ascertain how we're going to run our groups as far as the interview scenarios are going to play out. And this is what I mean by managing team interviews. So is student A, B, and C going to interview student D in like a round table kind of thing? Or is it just going to be a one-to-one scenario? And if so, who is going to interview who? So make sure you use that group team time wisely. To that effect, groups should be mindful of time management and prioritization of tasks. Your group is going to be arranged or already has been arranged by industry. So whether it's computer technology or education, something to do with multimedia design, that sort of thing. Each group will provide a teaching presentation, and students can utilize a skit format, a lecture format, and you should have some sort of PowerPoint or Prezi or a video to illustrate your message. The video should be no more than 30 seconds. Each group member must speak 1 to 2 minutes and incorporate at least one visual aid. And at the end of the visual aid, you should have a slide with your sources. Students will utilize class time to work on the presentations, and then you will present them in class. Be sure to cite any sources that you create teaching on a works cited list at the end of your PowerPoint, or if it's a handout, on a works cited list. Students who are not performing will write a minimum of 5 bullet points for colleague critiques of both the group presentations as well as I say up here, the interviews. Students who are absent on these performance days, this will be a 5-point deduction because there's no colleague critique available. Office interviews could be a launching point, or phone interviews, steps to search for a job, how to prepare for an interview, how to prep a resume, whatever you want to do. Conducting interviews as the employer. These are just some suggestions. You do not have to incorporate all of these in your presentation. During workshop, which in the electronic environment, it's very easy because I'm in the main session, you guys are working in groups. Bop on in, use the holodeck on Zoom and show me your resume, and then also show your colleagues, because some of your colleagues, quite frankly, may be or more than likely are better than me at working on resumes because they've been in the professional industry hiring people. So use those contacts in your groups for feedback on your resume. Whatever you do, do not take a template and just fill in the stuff. Make the template your own, or to me, it's very easy to spot a template and it shows you put 30 seconds of work into your resume. Students will work in groups preparing for the fishbowl interviews. What I mean by this is the class is going to watch you perform your interview. In the old school face-to-face class setting, we would get in a circle and they would be in the middle of the room, and we would observe these behaviors of the interviews unfold. And I'll work with each student offering revisions to your resume. This is for the face-to-face situation. I'm like, please bring your laptop. Well, of course, we're all on computer right now. And then finally, if you can, keep a before after of your resume. But at this point, some of you have already seen it, so it's superfluous. Each student is asked 3 open-ended questions, which means not a yes or no question. So it's not, do you have a passport? It's, what are your thoughts about traveling internationally? That would be an open-ended question, which leaves room for answering. If you are in a team scenario kind of thing, and there's 3 of you, each one of you should ask a question. Each student will provide a final draft of your resume on your performance day. So like what we do with the speeches, you're going to email your resume right before class begins. I look at the resume, I type up your critique and email you back. So make sure that resume is in my inbox on presentation day. Each student will have on hand a copy of their resume, and if this is more optional, if you want to have job postings, that may help you kind of prepare. Each student will provide their team members with 3 to 5 questions. You should not, so in other words, the questions you're going to be asked in this assignment. So that means the assumption is you've rehearsed this, that you have generated a bulleted list of ideas to talk about, whether there are specific scenarios that you've encountered and you've been a boss at handling them, whether it's specific skill sets that you have, training that you have, approaches that you have, things that you've learned on the job or in different, classes and so forth. All of that should be enumerated in your resume prep. Do not have that in front of you. In the classroom, I've busted people trying to hide it under the resume, and you're just cheating yourself. And like I said, recently I had an interview, actually 2 rounds, and I did not use any notes. Did I have a Google Doc where I generated lists of answers to possible questions? Yes. Did I have that handy during the interview? No. Did I print it out and stick it next to my keyboard? No, because in my mind that was cheating, and it would also inhibit my ability to speak from my heart, shoot from the hip with all my passion, and look them right in the eye and be myself. And that's just my opinion. You can do what you want in the real world, but in my class, don't do it, because I'll know you're doing it. Believe me, you remember LMC, your professor is the one that busts city people passing notes and chatting on Zoom and cheating. If I can bust a politician, I'm sorry, it's just very easy to determine that. And it's just very easy for me to do it. It's a superpower. Don't do it in my class. Students who are not performing on the day will be observing and writing critiques of both those asking and answering questions, obviously, as well as the teaching presentation. 3 points extra credit to students who dress up. And then obviously, you make sure that your answers are a bare minimum of 30 seconds. If you start chugging away and you go 3 minutes, you're gonna like rock my world. That's like, you are just rocking my world when you do that. So this is the rubric. It's funkily formatted, which this always drives me crazy when the page break. I've got it in Google Docs, but whatever. So, and this is just the rubric, and you can kind of read over that. It's very self-explanatory. So I hope this answers any questions that you have. Remember, you're giving a presentation with a visual aid. Each person will speak 1 to 2 minutes. You should do that in class. If you work outside of class, make sure you invite me to that Zoom session, or let me know that it's going on. I prefer that you don't, but if you want to, that's fine. Just let me know. Make sure that you're preparing the order of who's going to interview who. On some days, teams will want to do both the interview as well as the teaching presentation. Sometimes groups want to split it up, one day one day the other. Whatever floats your boat, that's good with me. And then remember, these are just launching points. They're not everything that you have to cover these are just launching points. They're not everything that you have to cover in the presentation. So you can do whatever you want. Just make sure you clear it with me. And remember, and I need to add this, I'm not going to add this in, but I've said it and I'll put it out in my email, and I need to change it right now, is you are to be using the databases from the library when you do this for your research, because those databases are totally awesome. Okay, thank you for watching my video.